Hello, beautiful YouTube. It is Emily. I hope you're having a wonderful afternoon, evening, morning, whenever you're finding this. This is a timeless message, and I am excited to share this message today. My goal is to be very informative and specific and helpful, and to assist anyone in the midst of an awakening journey. So I think I'm going to title this video God Before Aliens or Tripping Out in the Astral. I guess you'll be able to see what I decided. And yeah, okay. So aliens are real. If you haven't had your own personal galactic disclosure event yet, then you probably will have one. If you it's funny, the interdimensional community is quite strange because some people are like making fun of people who believe in aliens, like, oh my god, they believe in aliens. And then there's other people that are like, oh my god, they don't believe in aliens, like, and it's just two really different camps. So the aliens are the aliens. It's important to remember that what God's source creator is in this entire universe is so vast, and human beings, most ordinary human beings, only see 0.00035% of the visible electromagnetic spectrum of light. So it's just like a tiny fraction that our human mind can process. So, many of us are going through these big ascension journeys where we, get this big boost of Kundalini energy, and that allows us to suddenly start to have other types of perceptions that we aren't used to having. And this can happen clairaudiently. You can start to hear like Tibetan bells ringing and rivers flowing and bird sounds and voices. You can start to see things, okay? When my Kundalini first rose, I started to be able to have two types of perceptions that I wasn't normally used to having. So I did have like inner, close your eyes, dreamed space, like that type of inner eye seeing, visualization seeing. But mine was really actually in the world. So I could see like alien ships in my bedroom. I could see beings of light. So it wasn't in my head. It was actually like in the physical world. And you can increase your level of clairsentience. Clairsentience is probably my main spiritual intelligence. Clairsentience is a type of clear feeling, and it's this, basically, if you think about the human body and then you think about the subtle body and all the levels and layers of the aura, clairsentience is the ability to feel all of yourself, like the fullness of yourself. And what we're doing, or what I hope most human beings are trying to do, is actually embody themselves within their light body. So many times we call this ascension. Ascension is dying and leaving this planet, becoming an ascended master. You ascend off of this physical realm. We, as human beings, have the gift of life. We have these beautiful human bodies, and we have the gift of being here on Earth, which is so exciting and cool. So it's like, why are we trying to get out of this? I mean, I know some parts it's hellacious. My hope is that we can all do our own individual dharmic soul missions and let this place that we live called Earth be a peaceful and good, beautiful, true experience for all beings, as all beings deserve to live with freedom, to have their life respected, and to get to enjoy the human body. Now, the human body has been, from religious institutions, like, oh, the human body, it's just sloth, it's just, it's not of God, the human body is not of God, that this is absurd. This is absurd thinking. If we believe that our human body at least doesn't, we should at least believe that our human body has the potential to be divine, to fully embody our light body, and to therefore be in our divine self. Okay, so I've been talking about the divine self for a couple months now. I think that's when my guides started having me, instead of saying higher self, start switching to divine self. And here's why that switch needs to occur at this time for most of us. So many of us have been on ascension journeys for anywhere from, I don't know, a lot of people woke up in 2012. A lot more people woke up in 2020. And then since then, there's been quite a few different awakenings. I'm getting a vision of a solar events. Okay, now I'm not talking about like a huge solar flash. I'm talking about just like a really powerful solar event. When you have a light body that you're actively embodying, I guess is the best word, and you get a huge influx of a solar energy, that in itself can actually like charge your light body and kind of charge you up. I've experienced at least 2 really strong solar flash events, not like big solar flashes, but just like receiving, to the point where I'm a bit stunned when it happens, like kind of just like, those cartoons. Well, maybe you don't. I'm probably older than some people watching, but in the cartoons where like they see stars in their head and they're just kind of like, this is like what happens when you're fully in your light body and you get a huge flash of energy. You want to be standing on earth. You want to be barefoot. You want the earth to be able to absorb that energy. And yeah, okay, that I'm not sure why we were getting that, but I want to get back on topic about everything that divine self is. So, and we can go into the science of this, except for I'm not a scientist, so I'm not going to be the best person to explain this. However, I love to read and I'm a big nerd, so I've read a lot of different scientific theories, and most scientists agree that time is an illusion, like time isn't real. So I like to think of T.S. Eliot's 4 Quartets and the Burnt Norton, where time future and time past and time present. Okay, so all these different times are happening. So you could be I'm seeing like a top hat, like a top hat and a cane. What era is this? You could be like in the 1700s. So you could have a version of you in the 1700s, and you could also have a self of yourself that is on the planet Sirius and is a blue alien. And this part of you, say your 1700 self, is possibly aware of your blue alien self. And maybe you, now in the time present, is also aware of your 1700 self and your blue alien self. You see what I'm saying? But then each of us has a soul stream, and that soul stream comes from these different like monadic groups of energetic frequency that are all coming from that original divine source. So each person's individual divine self is the part of themselves that has all of their aspects fully, I guess not ascended, what's the right word here? Divinity. So it's all the aspects of you that have achieved divinity, all commingling in your divine self. And so you could be on planet Earth helping your blue alien self and also helping your 1700 self from this moment here. that could actually occur. I remember I was carrying a bag of groceries the very first time I had this very vivid experience, and all of a sudden, the part of me that was living in Africa, I know how I got there, but all of a sudden I started receiving all of these visions and all this information about this Emily, who had done a different timeline, life path choice, and was actually living in Africa. And this really kind of was like a pop, like a popping moment where reality kind of becomes very fluid. So this could start happening to you. You could be experiencing like these moments of like different timelines. Now, as you embody more and more of your light body and you come more and more into your creator consciousness, your divine consciousness, you start to, well, you become deeply sensitive. Okay, so instead of having to go down that timeline and play out all those things, and you're kind of just become sensitive enough to be like, oh, I know how that would turn out. Like, or, you know, it starts to become easier to navigate yourself in this amazing, like, human experience that all of us are getting to have, because we can actually, if we choose to, we can sit in meditation and we can quiet our mind, right? You have to, you know, and you can ask your divine self to help you remove any energetic, mental, etheric, astral, physical, or spiritual blocks that are keeping you from being able to come into like this very peaceful state. Because until you enter this like deeply peaceful state, you can't clearly receive the information that your divine self is just always excited and ready to inspire you with. So you could come into this really neutral place, and then you can, you know, almost time travel. I don't know if that's the exact word, but you can actually like time travel into different decisions, and you can feel and experience if your heart is open and your heart's clear and you've done the work to clear and open your heart chakra, you can get a really accurate feeling of what different possibilities are. So say it's like, oh, I'm going to take this job. Okay, you can quiet yourself in meditation and you can take that job and you can feel the feelings of what that's going to feel like. And of course, you know, because time, future time, present time, past is always kind of fluctuating. It's not going to be like exact, but you can get a very real idea of like, okay, if I move to this location, what's that experience going to be like, etc. And this becomes a way of using your intuition and your discernment that can be really quite beneficial to your life. Okay, a lot is in flux right now. Okay, it's like the map is like unfurling and unfolding, and there's so many different, I don't know if I want to call them agendas. There's many different games being played, and it's interesting how all of these different games will culminate and what they will culminate into on the political scene and what's going on out in our world, and also things that are going on even interdimensionally within other realms of our planetary system. Now, so you have to move through all these different stages as you're fully beginning to embody your divine self here on this earth. And I don't know if it would ever, like if you'd ever max out. I mean, I don't know, maybe, but it feels like it's unending, and there's always more work to do when you're doing great work. So I don't know that it ever maxes out and ends, although I do think that you can achieve mastery at different layers of the embodiment of self. And so one thing that you know, probably most everyone is currently working on is understanding the astral dimension of reality. Because if you think about it, we have physical reality, and then we have the astral plane, okay? And the astral plane is made up of thoughts and spirits, spirit, thought, mind. It's like mind. It's like, a lot of the thoughts that we actually have and receive each day, they don't even necessarily belong to us necessarily. Hopefully we get to a point where we have, I'm going to use the word jurisdiction. We have jurisdiction over our bubble, our egg, our cosmic egg. It's just like there gets to a point where you become unavailable by receiving anything that is just not a match for your resonance, energy, frequency, vibration, your resonance, as Nikola Tesla said. But there is definitely a phase of your enlightenment experience. Enlightenment, maybe? I don't know. I think so. Enlightenment. Because enlightenment, essentially, you want enlightenment to be an embodied thing. It's like, the journey to enlightenment is long, but we're all trying to get to that place where we just can live in that clarity of understanding of natural law, do no harm, and really see ourselves as one thing. And then the beautiful humanity, the humanities, the human art forms, and especially those art forms of love, which is such a unique thing to humanity that other species really don't do. Like if you think about some of the higher ascended dimensional beings, they don't have like relationship. They don't have the sexual arts like we have. They don't have the womb mysteries and birthing. Like these things don't exist in those spaces. So it's one thing for you to go on your journey into this space, and then it's another thing to bring yourself into real, like, physical, tangible union with another being who's also in that space. And I think that we all as human beings I think it's like, I can't be sure, but I'm pretty sure that our universe is like a divine love story that is like so beautiful. And I don't know necessarily if I'm not talking about like a Hollywood movie, because everybody knows that that's just TV programming, but it might be actually like more phenomenal than even what we think it can be. Yeah. So, okay. So astral. Okay. Astral realm. Let's just focus in on that. So the astral realm is like every thought, every imagination, everything that any person in all of space and time has thought. And, you think a thought one time, it's just one little thought wiggly, like an energetic wiggly. You think a thought, 10,000 times, it becomes a thought body. You think that thought body enough, it gains like an energetic attraction, and other thought bodies like it clump to it. And then that thought body can become like an entity, and that entity can become like an actual thing, like a thought thing in the astral realm. And so the purification of the mental body is really a big part of gaining jurisdiction over your own powerful cosmic egg in the astrals. And the astrals isn't like real estate here on Earth, or it's like, oh, there's a limited amount of real estate here on Earth, like only this many people can have beachfront houses. In the astrals, it's like you just, there's space. You can create anything you want. Now you might have to protect it. There's different layers of the astrals. Okay, the top layer of the astrals, right where it's like the connection to, we'll just call it the fifth dimension if the astral realm's fourth dimension. The fifth dimension is, there's like that really high astral energy, And then there's also like the lower astral energy that like primes what happens in Earth. So being able to have, power in this space of, it's basically a spiritual war zone. The astrals is like, right now, if you were just to look at Earth, I mean, and this is why so many people talk about mental illness and like, what could we do about mental illness, and how could we help people on this planet understand that when you're going through some type of mental disorder, most likely you're being spiritually attacked. And putting these pieces together, like, and many shamanic cultures completely understand that, and indigenous cultures. However, just like your average governmental system, like, that's not even part of the equation when thinking about how we could help people who suffer from mental disorder, for example. Okay, the astrals will confuse you. Okay, you could get lost in the astrals. I personally spent at least 2 years of my life being, tripping out in the astrals, basically. Because when people do magic and they do spell work, they can actually bind you to whatever they're building in the astrals. And I feel like I had to free myself from something that I had been bound to. And it took a lot of, like, taking somebody who is happy and smart and creative and bright and like loves their life and is, achieving great things in the world. And then I literally became a shell of myself, like, just, in my bedroom, unable to do basically anything, like crying and feeling like I was being spiritually attacked and in a war. Like, this is what black magic is. And it's like something that is hard to talk about and people don't want to hear about it, but I'm happy to talk about it because I feel like, I just don't, it's my goal to make sure that that type of thing actually leaves the planet and is fully purified off the planet. And of course, magic, like all things, is dual. There's white magic too. You can do things for good too. It's just that if you're dealing with magical people, you should be really discerning about their character and what I talked about in the last video, because it really does matter it just matters. It matters if you're going to do really big, high-powered work in the astral realms. Now today, like, the idea of something demonic scaring me is, I mean, I don't want to put a curse on myself by saying like I'm not scared, but I'm pretty much not scared. It's like, yeah, come at me, bro. Like bring it, I feel so well protected and so well able to navigate myself through anything. Like, the second that I start to feel an energetic attack of any kind or a siphon, is like, I know exactly what to do, how to just like nip it in the bud. And that took a long time to learn. So what else? Okay, so aliens is part of the things that will trap you. Aliens can actually trap you in the astrals. There's so many different alien agendas going on. Oh my God, there's alien agendas that are actually like our government is doing, certain parts of our government is doing. They're actually doing experiments. They're like literally being like, oh, this segment of the population, like, you can do some experiments on them. So there's stuff like that going on in the astrals. There's also like a lot of like diplomacy and like galactic meetings going on in the astrals. So the aliens are all, it's all about, they have to work within the astral realm, but also within those higher realms, of which many of them are a part of. And so that can get you tripping out in the astrals. You can be stuck in that. And essentially you have to get to the point where you start to get past the astral field and start to tap more into the radiant body, the celestial body, and these other bodies of yourself when you really start to commune with your divine self. And when you do, it is like just such a it's just such a different experience. It's just such a different experience. Yeah, and the astral isn't necessarily bad. It's just like what's going on in our world makes it really a difficult space. So as we are all coming into our light body embodiment and learning to become ultra discerning and to ground ourselves in the full truth of reality, not just like this reality. You know, so many people are just focused on the third dimensional reality. And, you know, some people are just focused maybe a bit too much on the interdimensional reality. But to deny either is something that's really wacky and out of balance. You have to, you know, come into that full integration of both. And when you do, I don't know, like I was seeing a Joe Dispenza's book. Joe Dispenza's most likely an alien. I think it's not hard to tell. Once you know, you know. But he becoming supernatural. It's like you do almost become like, you almost start to have like a supernaturalness to you. I love the word supernatural because it's, well, what is superior to nature? Certainly it's not something that is stuck in a mechanical, robotic situation. It's something definitely more inspired by divinity. I have this like really old etymological dictionary, and when you look up, maybe let's just give me 1 second. I just have to hop through the window here. I think it's with spirit is what I'm being led to share. So I'm just gonna share this. I've actually shared this elsewhere on the channel before. But I think sometimes people don't understand what they're working with. You know, the spirits are different than the ghosts. Okay. Spirit, an immaterial being, a substance distinct from matter, also virtue or supernatural power that enlivens the soul, or the soul itself. Liveliness, genius. And then there's all these different spirits. This is really fun to read because it's like the adept things that you don't know, they're like here. They're like, the secrets are hidden here. All right, so we're going for our divine self rather than just some version of our higher self. We want our full integrated, all of our higher selves integrated into our divine self, as our divine self is in full communion with the divine source of all of life. And when we do that, we can actually begin to move within our reality with a type of supernatural soul, like an enlivened soul. And that is cool. Like, how cool is that? It's like so poetic. Okay, I hope you're having a great day. Much love.